Yes!
I think the girls with their nails done now.
Welcome back to another video in the playlist for the ultimate guide for different spots and positions and all the maps in Battlefield 5. This is a bit of a different one. We've got 4 maps in one. We've got a few extra spots, or 1 or 2 extra spots on Provence, 1 or 2 extra spots on Rotterdam, 1 or 2 extra spots on Underground, and the majority of this video is going to be extra spots on Marj. And as of the last 2 weeks, I met some cool guys who've commented and watched all my videos. Cloven's there, you can see in the top left. Guys from Australia, and they enjoy finding spots as much as I do, and so we managed to find quite a few cool spots as well and test out on the different maps some vehicle launch spots as well as some normal spots which you can easily get to as well. But make sure to check the timestamps in the top comment of this video so you can just see all the different maps and skip to each different map that you may want to view the spots for. But getting straight into the video and talking about the different types of spots we found. So of course we're starting on Marj, and here we've launched a vehicle on top of the main castle or tower in Marj, and it turns out there is a death barrier when you jump, but this is kind of the height of the death barrier, and you can get up here. Of course it's not easy, but it's still really cool to see that you can get here. And I'd love to do this within a game and start shooting at people and killing people to see what their reaction would be, because we might be, I doubt we'd be the first ones to get up here. It's definitely one of the first recorded ones up here. Yeah, it's just so cool to see. But as always, please smash a like straight away on the video for me, because we spend absolutely ages, just hours upon hours, finding these spots, putting them together to put into a video for you guys. But next spot here on Marj, we've got another vehicle launch on top of B flag. We could see on the mini-map in the bottom left, there was clearly a death barrier along all of the walls, but there's obviously places which you could stand above B flag, which we thought may potentially be lower than the death barrier, and it turns out all of the wooden beams that are above B flag, you can indeed stay alive on and stand on. Now of course, while this may not be that easy to do within a game, it is still really cool and fun to see. I've already done one full video on Marj which has covered all of the main spots, so this is kind of like any extra additional ones, even if they are quite hard to do. But be sure to obviously stay tuned, because the rest of the Marj ones after these 2 launched vehicle ones are going to be much easier to do, and there is some very useful ones in here, so do check them out. This spot here is by E flag. Simply you climb on some pots onto this wooden frame, then you climb onto that curtain that's on the edge of the wall, and then you vault over that wooden post sticking out onto the edge of the corner of this wall, and you can basically walk along the top of all of this edge and this side of the wall on E flag and shoot people in E flag, so it's really cool. This was just a fun vehicle launch. You can see there's clearly a barrier there along the edge of the map, and the car was definitely inbounds, and you could potentially stay in the car floating above the map, which would be pretty funny if you could do that. But up next we just got 2 or 3 spots which you can get into and climb into trees. Not very useful, but you could hide in them and capture a flag. But again, ultimate guide to all spots, so I'm going to show everything that you could possibly do, and these weren't included in the previous video. This one here, getting up on top of this wall, I've shown 2 or 3 ways to get up onto this wall in the previous video, but again, here, another way you can get up, where you can jump over the wall then, down onto C flag, and flank any enemies where there are choke points on the left or the right, or just take enemies out that are on the flag. Here is just a spot in the top with a bit of height in this room, in one of the main power position buildings on the map, and it'll be an unexpected place. Now 2 ways here to get up on onto 2 of the smaller buildings without obviously climbing up the ladder. You know there's a high flow of enemies on the left and the right, and therefore you can get up onto these 2 buildings in this way without having to expose yourself to climbing up the ladder. You get a bit of height, and then you can jump over and flank enemies on the left or the right. Now this next one is absolutely crazy. I never knew you could do this for so long, but you can actually jump up. If you jump, turn to the left and grab that wall, you can climb over, and the amount of enemies you can therefore kill where I'm standing right now, but also where that massive choke point is, you can literally jump over that wall, look left, and kill all the enemies. Now we're on Underground, 2 more spots. These 2 bits of canvas here, you can climb up if you just watch the way that I do it. It's quite hard to explain. But you can shoot people coming from B when you look into the building. Unfortunately, there is a barrier around all the tops, so we couldn't climb onto the rooftop. But yeah, you can shoot people in and B, and you've got a bit of height. Now the next one is actually quite useful. If you open these two doors on the left side, if you're facing going towards B from C, you can jump onto the doors and climb onto this little glass balcony, if you like, that are above all of the doors along the building. Of course, only stand above anywhere where the glass is, otherwise you'll fall through if there are no glass panels, or of course if they are shot. But you know, when there's a choke point between B and C and enemies are always flanking behind you using smoke, it's really useful to kill them. And if they run out from the building as well, they're not going to see you because you're above them, so you can shoot them straight in the back. Now this year, again, was just 1 or 2 failed attempts on underground, but I thought I'd show them because it's quite fun, where we're trying to practice with supply drop launches. I managed to get across to the building here, but the death barrier on these buildings was higher than the actual building, which I managed to get on in the previous video, if you haven't already seen that. Again, this one here has got a bit of potential, but we found it quite hard to replicate. We were sticking the supply drop in between the crack in the building, or in the gap in the building rather, climbing on it so that it would shoot directly up in the air with us on it. So I managed to get on top of an invisible high barrier, but I died within the time limit.
I'm not going to get up.
If anyone wants to try this, and let me know if it works, but what I would recommend trying, which we could potentially try in the future, is if you get a bayonet on your gun, so you can do a bayonet charge, see if you can bayonet charge further to the right, because look how much time I'm wasting here. If you bayonet charge straight now, you might get an extra few seconds to potentially get inbounds and drop back down into the map in a new spot or position. So 2 spots on Rotterdam. Provence as well also commented this one for me. If you build the sandbags here on D flag, there's an invisible ledge you can grab onto, which is quite useful because you get a bit of height. Enemies don't expect you to be here, and if they come around the corner, or if you're spotted on the flare, they're of course going to look at you or expect you to be on the floor in the corner, not above. So it gives you the one up on quite a lot of enemies there. And then the second, and only the second spot we've got for Rotterdam, because we did cover the majority of them in the first game, is simply breaking that barrier there so you can climb up onto that bit of canvas, and then you've got the freedom of walking along all of the side of this building on all of the pieces of canvas. Nothing major, but again, it's another spot to include in the video. And to finish off, we just got one more way to get onto the rooftop in Provence. Just watch this and of course follow that. But hopefully you've enjoyed this video, loads of new spots. Please smash a like, consider subscribing, and I will see you on the next one.
Yeah, I've been running and running to keep it 100, it's all that I wanted, but lately I don't get the stomach. The higher the summit, the harder the plummet. They know me all over this planet. I'm just a man and I can't understand it. Proud that I win and I did it myself. Probably wouldn't if I got the help. Hearing subliminals all on myself. Feel like I'm breaking, I'm falling to hell. Told me I'm sick and I tell her, oh well. Rather be dead than to know that I failed. Live for the chase, life